أي شخص مهتم بالإنارة هذا الفيديو مهم جدا إليه. اليوم إحنا في دبي بنعمل تغطية وزيارة إلى أفضل شركات في تصميم والتحكم بالإنارة، وأفضل شركات في العالم في صناعة الإنارة. شركات عريقة جدا بريطانية وأمريكية، بنزور مقراتهم في دبي. وأيضا عندنا كورس من شركة لوترون الأمريكية، هي أفضل شركة في التحكم بالإنارة الصناعية والإنارة الطبيعية. تابعونا.
Grid of downlight scenario. So every single light has a specific purpose for being used. We're trying to highlight, accentuate something in particular to create points of interest that's just a bit different. Yeah? So here you can also have a look at the joinery details that we've done. And joinery is quite a fun way to add another level of interest into a space, so that kind of middle level of lighting. So just integrating it in different ways, 0 to 10 dimming protocols. Yeah, so our lights run on any dimming protocol. So Dali, like you said, 0 to 10, 1 to 10, phase dimming, and then switched on off. Obviously. But yeah, the intelligence for that comes from the drive. This room obviously you're familiar with this, I guess it's the Pico. Yeah. So this room we just use to demonstrate different lighting effects to our customers, because at the end of the day we're not the cheapest brand in the market. So and we're selling something, and we're trying to sell something that is intangible, right? So we have to show people how we can light spaces. That's our USP. So this is how it starts, the grid of downlights. So we say this is how other people light spaces. The walls feel quite flat, lifeless. There's no reflected light in the space. It's very unflattering to stand under a downlight. You get shadows under your eyes, nose and chin. So for women trying to do makeup, it's quite challenging because a lot of people just put a light centered in the middle of a basin in the bathroom. And that's a nightmare for women trying to get ready in the mornings. So what we typically do is we employ reflective lighting. So it's not the same number of lights, but it's similar wattage that we're using. But we're just bouncing the light off the walls. So, this is a small space, but you can make a small space feel bigger just by bouncing the light off the walls. And that's all we're doing here. We're just making use of reflective lighting. So even if you think about small corridors or transitional spaces, you can open those spaces up just by bouncing the light around. Wow. And then here we're just demonstrating different products. So we've got a family of downlights, small, medium, large, or based on 30mm, 40mm, and 50mm size LED engine. We've got trimless, white inserts, black inserts to give a variety and give flexibility for different projects. And then here we can see that we're accentuating a textured wall from the top. And then here we're using both up lighting and down lighting to throw light across the textured wall. Here we've got a cool sculpture because for us it's really fun to accentuate something in particular. We're talking about focus lighting and highlighting. So something that's going to draw your eye around the space, that's what we do best. So we've got a dramatic narrow beam of light over the sculpture. And then lighting integrated into joinery, showing a variety of different color temperatures because lighting is subjective, right? Some people prefer cool lighting, some prefer warm. We don't claim to say there's one that's right or wrong, although 90% of our projects are 2,700 Kelvin. But everybody has their own personal preference.
Nice.
And then, wall washing is a concept that's being used quite frequently. So here, if you don't want to have the individual scallops, or if you don't have something in particular to highlight on the wall, these fixtures do a really great job of a uniform wash of light, which could also work really well for spaces like a corridor, if you really just want to open it up and there's no artwork or mirror to highlight. And then here we've got the textured wall again, but instead of the uplights and downlights, we've got the vertical line of light to wash across the texture. textured wall, so it almost gives the effect that the wall's actually moving. I always tell people don't look at it for too long because it makes you feel a bit trippy.
Yeah.
And then here we're just looking at differences. The funny thing is that inside there is an LED engine that we sourced from the market. On the box it says things like 2700, 90 CRI plus, but you know, for the average person they'd put that in and think, okay, wonderful, great, job done. But then if we compare it with the LED engine that we manufacture as John Cullen, you can see instantly, and you don't have to be an expert in lighting to appreciate lighting.
Yeah.
You can see the colours just pop. It's vibrant, it's come to life. If you imagine you've created this beautiful interior, spent all of this money on marble and textures and fabrics, with the wrong lighting you can kill the space. Quite literally, you can kill the space. So here the important thing is having a high quality, professional grade LED inside. And it's very complex, you know, wattage, you know, everybody used to be familiar with the term wattage as a measure of light output.
Yeah.
That's now completely irrelevant when you talk about LED. That's not a measure of brightness, it's just a measure of energy.
Yes.
So things like lumen output is incredibly important. Candelas, you know, intensity of light is very important. And then here we're just looking at different scenes. So you know, that's an engine that we've got where you can change the color temperature. So it's dim to warm, so as you dim it, it gets warmer in the same way that halogen used to. And then you know, different details like cone, shadow gap details.
Is it changeable with the colors, this scope LED?
You can have, yeah, you can have it RGB or even better RGBW, because the problem is if you're trying to create white from RGB, it's a very messy, dirty white color. So we always say have RGB or red, green, blue, and then white as the fourth channel. Yeah.
So what if we want to dim this light, you know?
If you've got more objects and ornaments, it's
هذا
better to
front
put it
lighting
into
وهذا
silhouette. So you like
باك
it from the
لايتنج.
No.
شوف كيف توزيع الإنارة.
There's no spots.
في أنا أمامية
So we
ممكن
just have
خلفية
these
وكل واحدة
here,
تعطي
just for some
انطباع.
front lighting onto the panels and to illuminate on here.
شوف كيف إنارة المدخل وأيضا الأعمدة.
Even the lighting
حق
above, you know,
المدخل.
that's a space that people
شوفوا
often just
الإنارة.
forget about. It's a dead space.
والمنظر
So just giving that
في عليه
beautiful
إنارة.
light.
كيف الفن.
Even the low level lighting, you know, watching the light across the floor, just have the lighting coming from all directions.
وهذا
And these are
المدخل.
just magnetic faceplates, so no screws or anything.
الإنارة. هذا اللي قاعد يقوله إن الإنارة مو مهم شكلها، مو مهم توزيعها في السقف. يعني لو تشوف السقف كيف الإنارة موزعة فيه، اللي يشوفها يفكرها موزعة بشكل عشوائي. بس كل إنارة إليها وظيفة معينة. طبعا هذا كله ديكوريتيف لايتنج أو إنارة ديكورية. كل إنارة لها وظيفة معينة في هذا الفراغ. يعني هذه الإنارة على هذه اللوحة، هذه الإنارة على هذا المدخل، هذه الإنارة على هذه اللوحة، وهكذا.
It's magnetic.
Okay, very nice.
So they're quite cool. In fact, all of the other decorative lighting is also by Porcelana. So these pendants here, the whole lights on the side here, and then even the other lighting in this room where we started. Yeah, and then this is our courtyard space. So we've even collaborated with a company that specialises in outdoor sculptures as well, called David Harbour. So you can see the big
Mirror, it's like
sphere
a
over there, and then even the one with the pebbles sphere over there.